Hurry up,
The
wait.
judge said,
Okay, now we are. Would you all please raise your right hand? Repeat after me. When I say I, you say your name. I
I, Ned
Judge
Marshall,
Hawkins,
do solemnly swear
do
solemnly
solemnly swear
swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
that I will not
that I will not
knowingly receive,
knowingly receive,
directly or indirectly,
directly or indirectly,
any money or other thing of value
any money or other thing of value
for the performance
for the performance
or non-performance
or non-performance
of any act or duty
of any act or duty
pertaining to my office,
pertaining to my office,
other than
other than
the compensation allowed by law.
the compensation allowed by law.
I further swear
I further swear
that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
my duties as
my
duties
duties as
mayor or council to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
And you can lower your right hand. Have each of you signed this?
Yes.
And Christie, are you notarizing?
Yes, ma'am.
Or do I need to? Okay. Pass all those over to Christie.
We done?
We're done. No, we're done.
all right, okay.
Okay, you want to do this together, or do you want to do it, stand right here? Okay. Do you want to do it together or separately?
Either one. We can do it together.
Okay. So when I say A, I state your name, you state your name, okay? If you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I
I, Lawrence
Sammy
Wortham,
Davis,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
that I will not
that I will not
knowingly receive,
knowingly receive,
directly or indirectly,
directly or indirectly,
any money
any money
or other thing of value
or other thing of value
for the performance
for the performance
or non-performance
or non-performance
of any act or duty
of any act or duty
pertaining to my office,
pertaining to my office,
other than the compensation
other than the compensation
allowed by law.
allowed by law.
I further swear
I further swear
that I will faithfully discharge my duties
that I will faithfully discharge my duties
as a council member and mayor
as a
council member and mayor
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Okay, you lower your right hand. Congratulations.
At the call to meeting, regular Carnegie Library Board. Roll call, please.
Davis.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
White.
Here.
Coffee.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Bond.
Here,
Coldiron.
Here.
Wortham.
Here.
I do declare a quorum. Invocation will be by Gloria Brown.
Let us pray. Father, we just thank you for your goodness and your unconditional love. We thank you, Jesus, for what you did at Calvary for our salvation and healing. And we thank you for watching over us, guiding us, leading us in the decisions that we'll be making as city council people. We thank you for each one that's on this board tonight and the new people that have joined us. And we just ask, Lord, that you will go before us and help us to make wise decisions that will benefit the whole city. We thank you for the blessings that you've bestowed upon us, and we thank you for the blessings that you're going to add to us. We just give you praise and glory for it now in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Gloria. Item 1 is the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second, roll call please.
Davis,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes.
Everyone here to talk about the library?
Yep.
All right. We've got Pam Rigg, head librarian.
Okay, I didn't forget. The annual library coffee is Friday, April 28th from 10 to 12, 10 to noon. Carnegie Library Progress Club hosts the event, and the funds are used to pay for items that aren't funded from the city budget. The thing is, I would feel guilty asking you all to pay for it. That's what we'll use the money for. Finger foods will be available upstairs. We will be hosting a forum in the meeting room from 11 to 11:30. Former library directors will answer questions about improvements in the library during their tenure. All funds raised will benefit the library. Are you ready to take your kids to the OKC Zoo? Check out the juvenile picture book, Juniper's Butterfly Garden, at the library and read it to your kids. When you return the book, we will give you a zoo voucher good for up to 4 tickets. That's a good price, and you can bring your own food in. We have multiple copies and can place a copy on hold for you if they were all checked out. We purchased an AWE computer with state aid funds. This is a fun learning tool to support literacy in pre-K through elementary, and it also helps kids learn coding and even Spanish. The computer is not hooked to the internet. The telephone lines inside the building are showing their age. We are looking into a VoIP system to lower monthly bills. Please call back if we don't answer. We're there. It doesn't happen very often, but a little warning's nice. Summer reading program is almost here. We call it SRP. So SRP is for pre-K through elementary. We will have most programs on Tuesday and Friday mornings. We need to limit the number of participants in each session to keep within occupancy set by the fire marshal. To accommodate those who wish to attend, we hold multiple sessions for each event. We will take reservations on Monday for the following week. We use the programming to lure to get kids into the building so we can get them to read. The reading incentive part of the program allows the kids to earn prizes when they return their completed reading logs. Rewards can include restaurant coupons, prizes, beads for necklaces, and one-day pool passes. Top readers will be invited to a pool party with snacks. We will have programs for the teens and prizes for reading as well. They will also be able to earn one-day pool passes. They will have a separate pool party with snacks for top readers. They didn't want to be there with their little brother and sister, so we'll give them a separate party. We do have part-time opening at the library for an adult. It is posted on the city website. To be considered for the position, your City of Perry application must be returned to City Hall. The job description and application can be found on the city website. If you use Overdrive to check out books, you will be required to download and use the Libby app. The original Overdrive app will be disappearing. This is good news. The Libby app is a great improvement. That's it.
Appreciate what you do, Pam. You and other librarians, my kids really enjoy those summer activities. So
Thank you.
thank you. Any new business? If not, take a motion on adjournment.
Second.
Motion second, roll call please.
Davis,
Here.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Worthing.
Here, yes. All right. So now we can roll into our regular meeting for the City Council of City of Perry. And let's call this meeting to order. You got time? 6:24. All right, roll call, please.
Davis,
Here.
Marshall,
Here.
White,
Here.
Coffee,
Here.
Brown,
Here.
Williams,
Here.
Vaughn,
Here.
Goldar,
Here.
Worthing.
Here. All right, item 1, consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Davis,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes, thank you. All right, so moving down to item 5. Sorry, 4. Skip one there. Comments from those assembled pertaining to items on the city agenda. Seeing none?
Is that for community to speak?
Yes.
I didn't expect to be nervous with all of you staring at me. I'm suddenly like very nervous. Hi, I'm Rachel Armstrong. I own properties at 115, 119, 121, and 123 Delaware Street here in Perry, Oklahoma. I've been a resident for a year and a half. When I moved here a year and a half ago, it was with the desire to move out of Tulsa, to sell some property and assets I had there, and to move to a community that was less expensive and where I could live a peaceful life. I bought 2 dilapidated houses, and I have completely remodeled one of them, and I'm about halfway through on the other with a projected end date to be in September. The other 2 lots that I own, I've turned into a homestead where I do gardening, have chickens, all within city ordinance and limits. And I am sad to say that I'm starting to feel like I'm not a valued member of this community. I have, for some background information, have never been convicted of a crime, never been in any way, in any community that I ever lived in prior to this, treated as poorly as I have been treated by the law enforcement and city officials in this community. Last year, on January 27th, my father and his dog were attacked by a neighbor across the way's pit bull. I contacted the police, and even though I was the victim and complainant on our property, never leaving our property, we were treated as though we were less than citizens. I informed the police department at that time that if any further attacks occurred, that the city was on notice. I sent a certified letter to the city at that time, and then also the property is owned by Bill Chenoweth. I sent him a certified letter at that time letting him know that these tenants had this horrible dog. Easter Sunday of this year, I was in my 2 adjoining lots to my home gardening, and I was attacked by the same pit bull by the same owners. When I called law enforcement, I was actively in the middle of being attacked. I had to take a lawn chair to fight off this 120+ pound dog. I have bruises and bites still to this day from it, marks down my leg and on my arms. When Officer Foster arrived, I was never spoken to. He went directly across the street and spoke to my neighbor. They admitted that their dog was on my property and attacked me. When Mr. Foster entered my property to speak to me, he became belligerent. He pointed in my chest and said that he would tell me what my rights were because at the time I was in possession of a legal firearm that I own for the protection of myself. I asked Mr. Foster to leave my property, and then Monday morning I did file a complaint, formal complaint against Mr. Foster. That evening, Sergeant Foster, who's left, proceeded to come to my property and yell in my face, all on video camera, all of this is recorded, that he didn't give a, quote, shit if I had talked to attorneys, that he was not going to sit there and let me talk and tell him to remove himself from my property. I also, Tuesday morning, filed a complaint. I've left multiple messages for your offices, sir, and I've also requested informal writing for all of the documentations regarding those fights, and you have yet to contact me back or get me those documents, which I find completely unacceptable.
No, I have.
Sir, it's my time to speak. I'm going to pass these pictures around. These are the injuries that my father and myself and his dog have had happen to us on these 2 violent attacks, and yet nothing has been done to remove this dog out of the community. The dog has also had another incident with a neighbor to the east of us, and this dog actually attacked its own owner about 2 months back. So there are 4 incidents of this dog. I would like to know why, when I contact our civil servants, that I'm treated like the bad guy and treated like the bad person for trying to defend myself and my elderly father on our own land, minding our own business, doing absolutely nothing wrong. that's what I have to say.
Thank you. You're Rachel, correct?
Yes.
Sorry, that was me asking. That's your name. What's your address again?
I personally live at 119, my father lives at 115, and I own 121 and 123 Delaware.
Perfect. Thank you, Rachel. Is there anything else to be brought before the council? Let's move on to item 5, which is proclamations, commendations, reports, and inquiries by the governing body as pertaining to the agenda.
Are we someday going to address the letter that we got about E911?
I was going to talk about it during financial report.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Item 6, turn time over to Larry.
Thank you, Mayor. We have some good events coming up in the next couple of weeks. This Saturday, April 22nd, from 8 a.m. to 12 noon, is our semi-annual citywide cleanup. Participants can bring their items to the street department at 301 South 8th. 301 South 8th. You'll see a large banner on the department's fence to direct you to the proper place. We don't take these items at the Armory. Okay, so it's 301 South 8th. Also, April 22nd is Perry's Recycles, another event at the Armory from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Springfest, almost upon us. April 29th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. The car show, if you haven't seen the car show, it's got trucks and cars and motorcycles. It's always worth seeing. As far as current projects is concerned, the runway at the Perry Municipal Airport is back open after a crack sealing project as a result of a FAA grant. This crack sealing was finished last Friday. They opened the runway again on Saturday. Already, we've had some good traffic coming in. Airplanes from OSU and Vance Air Force Base come and do touch and goes, and they're excited that we're back open. They had to go someplace else to do the touch and goes, so. And we're happy to see them as well, because we do get to count all that as action for our airport. The 2023 CDBG grant waterline replacement project is moved to Caw and 9th Street. So it's moving along well. By the end of this week, there should be another 2 blocks that are completed for this project. Wind Construction, the general contractor, is holding firm on a completion date of July 19th. So that's going to be helpful as well. Be nice. Of course, it rains. We'd all like some rain. But right now, they're holding firm to July 19th. Tower work, we have some towers, some water towers that we're working on. In particular, the first one up is the West Tower, right down on 77, close to Stanley Auto. They're going to paint the logo on that tower, and that should be starting next week. Also starting next week is the maintenance of and recoating of the interior and an overcoat of the exterior on the South Tower. This is a project that we made an arrangement to do sometime back, probably early last year, because of issues with the tower, staffing on their part, on the part of the contracting firm. We're just now ready to go, so it'd be nice to get this one done, scratch it off the to-do list and go on. So, Council, any questions? Aaron? No? Back to you.
All right. Moving right along, then we'll go to item 7, which is our report by Meredith.
So it's the federal government and all their infinite wisdom moved the tax date. It's not April 15th this year, so hence I'm here so Russ can do some tax work. So I've got the third quarter financials for you. We've got March 31st, 2023. Total cash, $12.7 million is what your spreadsheet says, but that's not accurate. We actually have a duplicate of some checks, about $379,000 worth of checks. There was a misfeed in the printer We thought we voided them. They did not get voided, so they are shown in duplicate on your financial statements. So your cash is actually $13,085,000, a little bit higher than what's reported here. That gives you about a 1.2% loss from last month, which is consistent with basically your water tower payment, which was to Wind Construction. So anyway, if you want to make that note, and I'll have it corrected for next month. I just I didn't get it done for this time. So total cash, $13,085,386 for reference. General fund, budget to actual should be about 75% of budget. That's we're 3/4 of the way through. Revenues look really good, right? Sales tax itself in the month of March up 26% from March of 2022. Year to date, 29% up.
Fiscal year to date,
Yes,
29%.
yes, yep. And use tax up almost 75%. That includes that use tax. The reason you're seeing a lot there is the construction of Loves. That generated a significant amount of use tax for the fiscal year. So, other interesting things that happened in March itself, interest income came in really strong, we expected. You can see on your financials, it's at 822% of budget. Those interest rates are really nice right now, which is good. We spent about $93,000 on playground equipment, and we closed out a final FAA grant, which provided about $54,000 of reimbursement. So 9 months in, a net profit of about $454,000. Remember, that includes our ARPA funds, okay? So it looks like it's a big number, but know that because we received those in this year, that's showing as revenue and kind of inflates that revenue number for this fiscal year. Questions on general fund? Okay. PMA. Utilities are looking good. Operating profits in electric and trash. You know, our water and sewer themselves, because of the debt payments that we have, show losses. Just for your all's reference, debt payments in the fiscal year that we budget are a little over $1.5 million. So it's a significant amount of money that you see coming out. Take into account some administration revenue and our transfer out over to fund the general fund. We have a net income of about $650,000, which gives you about 7 months of cash on hand. Questions there? If we took out, just looking at March itself, not any other month, if you took out your water payment to Wind Construction of like $283,000, we'd basically be at a break even for the month of March. So I know it looks like we're making a lot of money, but March itself, we're break even. And if we include that debt and the application payment, we've actually lost about $300,000. So, questions on financials? Okay, a couple of other things. I got your ARPA compliance file this year, and we have to do that annually. We have to submit to the federal government what we're spending that money on, how it's been obligated, and if we've actually made those payments. That is done for it's not even a fiscal year, it's through March 31st is how they do that. So that's done. The 911 board letter that you all got. So just to give you an update on that, we have met with the E911 board. We provided them a summary of how those funds have been spent over the last 12 years. We went back to inception, which was 2009. We took the revenue that came in. We've been tracking this. Of course, we track it in our separate GL accounts. Take the revenue that comes in less the dispatcher salaries and the AT&T lines to show what our loss is over the period. The average loss is about $190,000 annually. Over the period, that's a little over $2.6 million that we put into the system. So they got that summary. I think they had some questions about it. I think they're trying to get an understanding of kind of the cost and how things are moving. And we're going to get them that information, whatever they need. We also have the details that we can send them every month because we track that separately. Just so you all know, if you all remember how that works, we get E911 fees for our city, but we also get the county E911 fees. And based upon the agreement, then we provide dispatch services. Of course, a 911 dispatch service is not a 5 days a week, 8 to 5 job. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It is a constant operation. And that's what our costs reflect. I think just getting them comfortable with that so they can see the numbers is what that letter is about.
2.6 was the adjusted number, is that right? After we removed one of the, okay.
Yes, sir. Yes. When we originally presented the numbers, we had 6 dispatchers in there, and we realized that we should only have 5 in there, so. Yeah. Anything else on that?
No, I mean, I guess the other, it used to be more than one dispatch, and with this agreement, it pulled it into one, if I recall correctly, is that?
Yes, there were 2
historically right?
dispatches, yes.
So, and I think county and us all agree that it's beneficial for this to be a single dispatch. It's all about saving lives. So now it's figuring out the other side of this is there's equipment and mapping for new addresses and things like that. And if we can, we're going to have to all come back together, the board come back together and determine how we're going to fund all those things and get all those things done. But I think that's along the lines of where they were starting to figure out.
Just to get their hands around
Yeah,
that.
yeah, to get their hands around that. And I don't know that, I could be wrong, but I don't think that board had met in some time, so
Was that their first meeting that we went to?
that's what I
We
gathered,
met.
because it was, well,
We met
the
twice.
prior one, yeah, the prior one was the first one.
It's been a number of years since they
Yeah.
last met, no doubt about that.
So I'm thinking that board getting going again is a good, because we also have the next gen thing, which there was also at the meeting, there was the guy from the state there, and he spoke to that our audit and things that we were doing was what they required and up to snuff, and then talking about the next gen E911, which is 2 years, I think he said, is that? 2 years will be required to upgrade, so, and there's some grants and things around that, but we'll be required.
And I think
to
Chief
do that.
is working on the grant to get mapping
Yeah.
updated and all of that. Yep.
Yep.
So I know you all got the letter. I want you all to know that previous to the letter, we'd already provided information. We will continue to provide information. So. Last thing, budget timeline. It's budget season. I love budget season. So I'm expecting to have a first draft to you all, actually at the May meeting, the first May meeting. And then public hearing tentatively scheduled for the first June meeting, approval of the budget at the second June meeting. The second June meeting is on June 19th. Are we going to have that meeting? Because Juneteenth, is that a federal holiday now? I don't.
It's a federal, but it's not a state holiday. We go by state
Okay,
holidays.
perfect. So we'll plan on approving it then, unless you all want to approve it before then, which I'm happy with. All right, anything else?
The agenda item does talk about the quarterly investment report, and Russ and I have talked about the exact way that we want to present that to the council, so hopefully we'll have that by maybe the next meeting or something like that. It's something that a couple of months back, we had talked about moving money from one financial institution into another. So it's something I'd used in Illinois, and I thought it worked out really good, so we just, I'm kind of fashioning, I'm trying to remember exactly how I did that some years back, but I think it'd be helpful for you to see exactly what we're able to get locally, what we're able to get someplace else, and the difference in between, and also the maturity. Because we kind of ladder some things as we go along here as
Yes,
far as
we've got
maturity
13
dates.
CDs that we, one matures every month, so we keep getting a good interest.
So we want to be more transparent to you about that. So we'll get that in a format that Russ and I and Meredith are both happy with. So something to look forward to. All right, Mayor.
Okay. Any other questions for Meredith or Larry? Okay, move along to item 8, which is the appointment by myself for the municipal judge, the consent and approval of city council. And I decided to stick with Sherry Ford as our municipal judge for the next 2 years. And And so with that, we need to vote approval for that.
Motion to approve Sherry DeBoer as the municipal judge.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Coffee.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes. Okay. Item 9, consider approval of the traffic signal maintenance agreement in the annual amount of $2,520 with Signal Tech for signal lights on downtown Perry. And so Brian, this is all you.
That's all me. I don't have a presentation, but I'm going to answer some questions, do a little bit of talking. I didn't write anything down, so I think everything will be all right. This is something I just wanted you guys to look at right now. If you guys choose not to do it or to do it, that's fine. I think my original intent was let's look at it, see what we think about it, and maybe we'll just go in with this next fiscal year, on the budget type deal. Fine with doing it now, fine with not doing it. I mean, what I'm kind of going at with it is it gives us about a $10 to $15 an hour decrease in their hourly rate if we sign up for this. And then anywhere from 10 to about 20% on our parts. We get a little bit lower on our parts as well, which is great because a lot of times I don't really need them to come do something. I just like that little benefit of getting some things a little bit cheaper. But I don't know if you guys looked at this at all. It's been 8 months, I think, since it's been on here that I've been able to come and talk. We didn't include school zone lighting. This was all just traffic lighting and signal lighting.
Okay, so it's all the traffic lights.
It's just
in
our
Perry.
around the square, 6th Street, 7th Street, 15th Street, yeah, that's what that is. And one of the reasons, we've kind of kicked this around for a lot of years, we've always done it, but our controllers, our conflict monitors, our loop systems, they're getting old now. And we're hitting that point where we're gonna have to start replacing them. I'm like, this might be a good time to enroll in something, we get a little bit of a break, when we do that, because we do have some projects. I think last year, we looked at 15th Street and Fur, upgrading our, the loop systems, or the detection systems, so like cameras, just because of all the extra traffic coming from 15th Street now. Signal Tech says we can probably really make the flow of traffic go better. And last year you've seen the price, and I think I might have included it on a preliminary budget deal this year. And of course, it's twice as much as it was last year. But anything we can get to kind of knock that price down is kind of where I'm looking at. So, but sometimes we're wrestling about doing a maintenance agreement, on a yearly deal. So I just want to let you guys look at it and see what you think about it. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
There were some questions last council meeting.
So this agreement basically says they'll come, look at things, and then if something needs fixed, we pay extra.
Yes, basically they'll do an annual inspection, which kind of takes it off of our back, so I'm changing filters, making sure fans are running and all that stuff. And if they get in there and they go, oh, this loop looks bad, anything under $100, they just change.
Gotcha.
Now, we pay for that, but they're not really required to ask us, hey, anything over that, they'll say, hey, this is what you need to do. Actually, what I kind of expect to happen, and this is counterintuitive to what you want to see, is that we sign up for this and we do see a little bit of rise in cost first, because they are going to be finding problems. So you're going to see it kind of go up. But the theory is as they get all that fixed, then we go down, and hopefully, this agreement just flows on year after year.
Okay, cool.
How do we handle making sure they get out and do the inspections?
We've dealt with Signal Tech for 20 years that I've been here. They've kind of got a corner on the market, and they're very good at what they do. I have no ifs, ands, or buts about them. When they say they're going to be here in July, they'll be here in July. And we would also get like a monthly report if they, have something, or a yearly report. Whatever they do, we'll see everything that's done.
that initial cost comes from your budget, but
That-
if there's other costs involved when they have maintenance, is that from your budget
Yes,
also?
yeah, the same as it would be now. It's just that we would get a little break on our parts and labor compared to what we do now.
Do you think we put that much in
That's,
those lights?
we're on the cusp right now, I think. My biggest thing is I know here in the next year or two, there's gonna be some bigger projects that's gonna have to come up to replace some things. So I'd like to kind of twirl all this in together, you know.
This was just a year, wasn't it? Approved? I mean,
Yes,
come-
yeah,
Come
yeah.
back, yeah. Motion to approve.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Right, you guys will have a lot more.
Davis,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Calderon,
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes, thank you. Okay, on to item 10, consider approval of sales tax agreement with Perry Facilities Authority. So Bryce, I believe
Yeah.
this is with you.
You know, the hospital agreement provided for many things, including the continued operation of the Stillwater Medical Center, Perry Hospital. But one of the main pieces is that it provided, at the time the REH license was issued and authorization to bill as an REH occurred, whichever one of those is latter, 1 month later, we could stop transferring, you know, close to $50,000 a month to them, a little bit less. But let's call it $500,000, $550,000 a year. And we could start using that to pay on the indebtedness that we're going to have to do the remodel and/or those contracts that you approved at the last special meeting. I notified Stillwater of this fact, and they wrote me back and said that they haven't received anything from Medicare, or anybody said that they are authorized to so bill, or that they haven't received any dollars, and of course they wouldn't, because the billing would precede the receipt of the dollars. So I did tell them that, the earliest time we could do it is May 1st, 2023, but they need to look hard at it. It would be my understanding that when the license was issued, that's when they would be authorized to start billing. And, I'm not wanting to give up a $50,000 payment, pay it to a party when you could pay it down on one of our debt, because we're going to have some significant issues or debt to pay. So that's really part of it. The other part of it, as you know, we have filed an application to MediFund for a $7 million new market tax credit. I actually got an email from Blake, the principal of MediFund, today. I sent him a significant amount of information that he had asked for. I gave the mayor a copy of that information today. And he wrote, "Hi Bryce, just want to let you know that I've been through the information you provided and think we're in good shape so far." He did ask for the additional information that they wanted. I think we told you a week ago that that's not in my hand, that's in Stillwater's hand. I emailed Stillwater again today and told them, as soon as you can get me that data, we will send it to MediFund. So what is the sales tax agreement? Well, the sales tax agreement is an agreement between us and the Perry Facilities Authority, whereby we, the collector of the sales tax, agreed to transfer that money to the Perry Facilities Authority because they're going to enter into the indebtedness in order to pay for this. It's also a showing that we have committed funds to this project, which is something that MetaFund wants to see. This agreement may be amended when we finally enter into the financial transaction. The bank may want a jot or a tittle of it changed. But at this point, it does show that we've committed those dollars to a future indebtedness. So I think it's important now to enter into that agreement. You need to expect us to stay on top of this REH issue and make sure that we're not sending any money over that we could use on our own. And I will stay on top of that. But if you approve this today, because we haven't issued anything, it doesn't have a whole lot of effect. But it does show MetaFund that we have committed these dollars for this project, which is just one other item to show them the seriousness of our commitment. I think, as we told you also, we have filed an application with MFAF. I think they're meeting this month. And if there's action taken on our grant agreement request, then we'll provide that to MetaFund too and just show them, additional commitment towards this remodeling project. So that's the purpose of it. We're recommending that you do in fact approve it.
Just to make sure I read this correctly, the authority by the agreement still has to use the money as the voters agreed to, right?
Absolutely, and that's the remodel, remodel the hospital and charges which are pursuant to that remodeling cost. So that would go to pay the architect and to go to pay the general contractor, together with the cost of what it's going to cost to build this.
Any other questions regarding that?
Motion to approve the agreement?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Coffee.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes, thank you. Okay, moving along to item 11, it's approve the following invoices by Meyer Engineering, Consulting Engineers Incorporated. Larry, would you like to take that?
You see the invoice total there, and also the breakdown of all the invoices. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer those best I can. Most of these you've seen before. Let me just go down the list. The 2023 CDBG grant engineering, that's for the current water line replacement that I mentioned in an earlier agenda item. Call Lake assessment, we're looking at the turbidity of Call Lake. We received some information from Stillwater that they're liking to take a little bit more than they have in the past. Ross, correct me if I'm wrong here. But we wanted to make certain that our water resource well with Lake McMurtry and also Call Lake if they start going that way. So I just want to make certain that our engineer Matthew Coe had seen this. So this is the cost from him.
They would like to use McMurtry as a storage for call water. They'd like to park some of that call water in McMurtry, which takes water from another lake and places it into our lake. There's potential good and bad from it. There can be foreign species, but it would tend to replenish the water in times of drought. It may affect treatment, but the amount of water that they could put in there is of course limited, and McMurtry is a deep lake, so he's studying the effect, and we're also thinking at some point that there may be some folks that may want to get water rights there. So I think we've talked about this in the past. It's important for us to protect our water rights and to use McMurtry, and we're using it in a real way this year. So
Okay, the next one is 1612 North 12th Street Sanitary Sewer Survey. We were notified by a resident that he thought that we were impeding on his property, and it's turned out that that was correct. So this is the study that Matthew Cog did to, and with the survey and his recommendation on what we should do there for them. $3,179.50 for the second and Maple drainage evaluation. It's a survey, engineering, a topo study for the drainage, and I think we're all familiar with that particular situation. That's where we are. Any questions?
Probably should have asked this earlier in your statements, but when we have, or when the water line project is going along, I assume we're okay still talking about that, because and they dig in culverts and things for these replacements, who's responsible for returning that culvert like was?
Should be the contractor.
Do we have anybody evaluating that, making sure that that is
Will Sheets is out doing that.
on that specifically?
Mhm,
Okay.
yeah.
He's on that project.
I know he's on the project.
So, yeah, if there's any issue.
I didn't know if he was evaluating the stuff under the ground, or if he's also doing stuff on top of the ground.
You know, feel free to give him a call
Yeah.
if you have a concern about
Okay.
any, because he's the guy on that project.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
that you're thinking like the grass, as they're like replacing that, or
Sorry.
like replacing the grass as they dig in?
I'm making sure that the water still flows down our waterways
Mhm.
and underneath culverts and things, not getting stuck.
Right, yeah, we do that. And also, we meet monthly with the contractor and also with the DEQ guy, or, I'm sorry, the Oklahoma Water Resources Board.
Okay.
And then Matthew Coe, I'm there, Christie's usually there. So we have a good opportunity to talk about those issues. I kind of look at this project like in relation to how we did some of the previous projects, especially at the very beginning, and I've not had a call of anything. I even drove around this afternoon and noticed that where they do replace the the dirt, it's leveled. You know, in some places it hasn't quite settled yet, but that's brand new construction, so they want it to kind of settle a little bit. It would be helpful if we had a rain, it would help it settle even more. But I'm pleased with the professionalism of what these guys do, and I hope that in the future we get to use them again. They have been an absolute pleasure to work with.
Great.
Motion to approve the invoices listed to Myers Engineering.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Davis,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. Okay, item 12, approve 3 candidates as trustees on the Oklahoma Municipal Assurance Group. So now on this item, has everyone had a chance to take a look at the names? Personally, I'm not familiar with anyone on this ballot, but we have to select 3 to recommend.
One we should probably recommend.
I mean,
we have one with Russ, but I mean the other ones,
Council, I do know Pam Polk, the city manager for Collinsville. So very experienced city manager, just a great gal, understands everything that is needed to run a city and to protect the city as far as the liability is concerned. So I would like to see her as one of those. If we have to, we'll throw Russ in there, come up with another name. 'Cause I don't, Russ, do you know any of these others?
Now, I know Pam, and I agree with you about Pam. She would be
She's just top
good.
notch, yeah.
Uh,
Do you, Meredith?
Yes, I know Liz Sloat done it and Hilton. Yep. And extremely competent. So that's one of our communities.
So that might be our 3 then, or that we would recommend?
Oh, I would recommend her for sure.
could be just.
I don't know him, but the one that I considered after looking it over and thinking it over was the Brian Lindley for Choctaw, because I thought it might be a comparable town to Cary. And he is a city manager that should have understanding of everything.
We're-
but I don't know him. Pray to God, that's what comes up.
Polk, Sloat,
Well, luckily, we do have three candidates that we
Right.
are familiar with, so.
So we're comfortable with Pam Polk, Russ Meacham, and Elizabeth Sloat?
Is that a motion?
Sure, why not? So moved.
Second?
All right, roll call, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Coffee.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Goldar.
yes.
Wortham.
Yes. Okay, there we have our three. So let's move on to item 13, consider approval of resolution number 2023-04 of the City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, authorizing the submission of an application to the State of Oklahoma 911 Management Authority for a grant to implement and update live mapping data with updates and certifying that local funding is available to meet the grant's local match requirements if required. Brian, would you like to address this?
Sure. On a positive note with the budget, I am saving the city money. I didn't ask for a helicopter this year, so.
We'll remember that.
Okay. So, in a long story short, we do the 911, and fortunately, the city of Perry is already mapped out. So if you buy a house anywhere on a vacant lot, we know what address that is because it's set in stone with the GPS system. On the back note, the county, if you buy land out in the county, the assessor has to give you an address out there. So what we've thought, like we mentioned, y'all mentioned earlier, the board, we haven't met since, I believe, Mayor Johnson was here. So it's been a while since our boards met at the 911. So they issue an address, and what we've always thought all along, Mandy gives the address, she calls dispatch, says, hey, John Smith moved out at 153 Chisholm, or whatever. We immediately call AT&T, say, y'all need to add that to the system. That has not been done in a while. That's just the mapping process of it. We did have a meeting. The Lance Terry, the head of their E911, said there is grant money. All you got to do is get everything in place, apply for the grant, and a company comes in, goes back 7 years and starts getting our addressing all up to date, and it won't cost the city nothing. So I looked at the figures. That's an $85,000 contract that we can get a company to come in and do all of our mapping, make sure everything's in compliance. We did appoint a 911 coordinator after the meeting. We did need a 911 coordinator. Amanda King, our court clerk, is now our coordinator. She's taken off 100 mile an hour on that, getting everything going with the GIS system, trying to get the grant. I think she was waiting for the meeting tonight, and she submits everything in tomorrow. There's 3 vendors. We want to go with the company in which they said, like the company we want is $85,000, I believe, and there may be some that are $40,000, but it's not costing us any money. We are really hooked on Sam, and that's what the grant said. No matter what it is, the company you want's the one we will let you have. The money's not an object. So this Sam group has came in, looked at our system. They know our system, and he's like ready to take off and get everything compliant. So that's kind of where we're at right now on the mapping. Candy, our dispatcher, I've just been dispatched 911. I thought everything was in compliance that way, but evidently it's not an easy phone call to AT&T to get everything up and going. So we need to get that done. We're hoping to get all the grants submitted and get this company on board and get us in compliance.
Amanda reached out to me today and needed some numbers. I got those to her, so she should be good.
Okay, good.
I think you might have answered my question, but, so this gets us caught up. Does Amanda then coordinate making sure we
Yes,
stay caught
she
up
will
after
make
that?
sure
Is that
that-
who we, okay.
Yeah, she'll be in touch with Sam, the group, and they will be working hand in hand, making addresses, make sure they're available right now. So if a guy built a house out in the county, And I don't know how many of y'all shop Amazon. Say this guy wanted to have a package delivered to Amazon. Right now, it's not on Google or mapping. They're like, it's got to be somewhere close, and maybe they'll see a mailbox. Oh, there it is, because it's not in the 911 system right now. So that's what the county's afraid of. They get a fire call or emergency call. That address isn't, you can type it on your phone, it's not going to show it right now because it's not added to the system.
So this gets us caught up, but we have a plan
Yes.
to
They'll-
continue and not get behind again, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Is there some way someone can figure out whether or not they're on the system? Like you said, it hadn't been updated for a while. So if
Yeah, I
someone's
mean,
out there-
that'd be a good question. I mean, if somebody recently built a house out in the county, I'd like to see if they could put that in.
That does bring up, there's multiple pieces of that, because even once we get it registered through our systems here, it then has to go to Google, and it won't be the next day.
Right.
So the state, right, submits that?
The SAM group will make sure everything is in compliant with Google, everything, that's their job, get everything to the map.
But after we're done with the grant, if there's a new address, the state, once we submit it into our system, the state will help push that
Yes.
through Google. Is that, will I remember that
Yes.
right? Okay.
So is
There
this
is a
for
lag.
all county addresses in Noble County?
Yes.
What about within city limits of other cities in Noble County? We're not responsible
That's-
for keeping that up to date? That's not
Yes,
us?
yes,
Yes.
we got all Noble County.
And you know, one of the main points of this, because there are landlines, but landlines are becoming a thing of the past. This technology will, once implemented, will get them within 10 feet of this phone, wherever it is. Okay, so that's really.
Well, that's two separate things.
Well, no,
Right.
that's what this is. We spoke today, I met with Amanda for about 2 hours today.
GPS your phone.
And we
I
called,
thought that was the next gen thing.
and we
We
called,
already have it now.
We have the next gen?
well, we called Sam and spoke to him. And that's what he said, this is a revolutionary, you know, what the state did is the state took pre-qualified certain vendors. And so, because what I was asking is, why didn't we have a really detailed RFP? I mean, why didn't we have a page after page of an RFP asking for what we wanted? And that's because the state knows exactly, you know, what we want. This new plan is to, it's really the next generation. That's how Sam described it today. And the whole purpose is not only that landline, but to get the technology in place where you can get within 10 feet of your telephone. And if that is the vendor that we want, then that's who we can use.
So they're doing this in one grant, because Lance told us about two grants, and one was the next gen grant, and one was the GIS grant, the mapping.
Well, on Monday, that is what Sam said today. The Bruce with Sam, that's what he
Bruce
told us
Hardesty, I
today.
believe is his
Now, to make sure that I have a perfect knowledge of this, on Monday, we're going to have a telephone call this next Monday at 10 o'clock with the state gentleman that was there.
Okay.
And we're going to go over all this, but rest assured that, you know, this authorizes us to submit the grant. We will get the grant. We've gotten quotations. We've got something coming to you real fast to implement this, and at that point, we will fully describe it. But in talking to Sam today, I mean, I got kind of excited because, you know, that technology is what we need, you know. I mean, very few people are going to be calling from a landline if they need help. You know, they need for you to get out there and address the cell phone.
Since you're having a meeting with Lance, it would be good to understand, because there's a bill going through.
Okay.
And that bill has to do with next gen, and then
Okay.
what will be appropriated to each.
To satisfy that?
Yes, so
Okay.
it'd be good to understand that if we need to do anything to help with that.
Absolutely.
You're right, in 2 years, he did state that this new technology's coming out to where we will have to speak about that then. It's the,
Well, I think we'll be required to be
Adding.
on next gen if we're not already
Yeah,
by,
right.
within the next few.
currently now, if you call 911, we're within 50 feet,
Yeah.
and they're wanting to go from 50 to 10, so.
Anyway, you know, if we weren't on it before, we're on it now. I mean, we're absolutely going to address this and satisfy the county. We've got documents. We've put the open record request. We've got documents coming to them, and we're going to hear exactly what they have to say and what they want and update the contract. You know, I think we said this may involve some additional dollars. Maybe not for the hardware, you know, or for the software, for, you know, this data entry, but it may involve some additional dollars, so.
I think there were three different grant types? That,
And she said there were 4 because you had to look up that fourth
That's right,
one.
the fourth one.
And I can't remember what they are.
Like,
I've got them written down.
Yeah. But yeah, so there may be other grants
To cover,
as well.
yes.
But it is appropriate, we've checked our resolution, the language of our resolution with the state person, it's perfect, so we need to approve it and get this grant rolling.
I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 2023-04, authorizing the submission of an application to the State of Oklahoma 911 Management Authority for a grant to implement and update live mapping data with updates, etc.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Coffee.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Wolford.
Yes, thank you. All right, item 14, consider approval of professional services agreement with Rogers EMS Consulting LLC to apply for a 2024 Oklahoma Emergency Response System Stabilization and Improvement Revolving Fund for certain emergency medical services equipment to authorize a 25% local matching grant from ambulance fund or other fund as designated by the CFO.
If you remember, council, early last year, thanks to a grant from the Malzahn Family Affiliated Fund, we were able to purchase a Sprinter ambulance. It's not your type 1 ambulance, it's more of a van type ambulance that we wanted to use specifically for our new paramedic program, which is going great. We think that because of that Sprinter ambulance should be arriving in June of 2023, hopefully. Knock on wood, every place you can do that. But in order to actually put this on the road and put it in service, we have to have certain things that are listed here. We also have we also have the opportunity to apply for the ERSIP grant. We've done this before. We've been successful before. We have not been successful before. And one of the things that we've used is this firm, Rogers EMS Consulting. He's very experienced in this EMS, ambulance, firefighter world that most of us are not. So Russell would like to use him again for applying for this ambulance grant. The payment is $2,000 up front. If he's not successful, that's it. If he is successful, we pay another $2,000, which is pretty much what we've done in the past. The same thing. He hasn't raised that as long as I've been here anyway. So you see in the tab what's the necessary. It's defibrillators, it's ventilators, it's chest compression systems, and we usually try to put a matching grant, a percentage in there. Mr. Rogers says it gets us more points. So I talked to Russ, and Russ said that 25% would be good. So this is something very necessary. There's not a long lead time for this, which is good. And we're all excited to have our ambulance coming in. That's going to be a great thing for us. So we're gonna run the wheels off that baby. Any questions?
Hopefully not too soon.
Pardon?
Hopefully not too soon.
Obviously, we don't purchase these pieces of equipment, it's just gonna sit there and look pretty.
It says the matching fund will be from the ambulance fund or other fund as designated, so what will it come from? Will it come from that ambulance fund? Or
Yes.
some other fund?
Whatever your motion says.
That's what I wanna know, where is it gonna come?
Yes,
The ambulance fund?
yes.
It'd be about $30,000.
And once you all make that motion, then we'll, wherever you choose to pull it from,
Oh, okay.
we'll make that restriction on the cash schedule, so you'll see it.
Russell was gonna be here tonight, came in this morning not feeling too well, so. That's the reason why he's not here to please his case.
Well, I make a motion to approve the agreement with Rogers EMS for the specified amount and have the 25% matching fund from the ambulance fund. Did that make sense?
From the ambulance fund.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Davis,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes, thank you. Item 15, new business. Any new business to be brought before us? Seeing none, we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Everybody jumped on that.
Just guesses.
So you could guess who has it in second?
Second.
All right, roll call, please.
Davis, Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. Okay, I was warned that we are not done.
Halfway.
That was
It's
good.
the hardest thing
Almost
to get
there.
used to.
I know.
You know, once the city council's done, we're ready to go.
That's right. So we're gonna call the next meeting to order. We're gonna meeting for our Perry Municipal Authority at 7:23. Roll call, please.
Davis,
Here.
Marshall,
Here.
White,
Here.
Coffee,
Here.
Brown,
Here.
Williams,
Here.
Vaughn,
Here.
Goldar,
Here.
Wortham.
Here, thank you. I declare a quorum. So our first item, consent agenda.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Davis,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Brown, Williams,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes, thank you. Item 2, consider canvass of bidders for the Hay Meadow lease at the Perry Municipal Airport. Approve Hay Meadows lease agreement with Rustin J. Engel. Anything you want to expound on that, or?
Christie and I opened the sealed bids, and Mr. Engel was definitely the highest bid.
Motion to approve the Hay Meadow lease to Rustin J. Engel for $17.55.
Second.
All right, got 2 seconds in there. You can take a pick. Roll call, please.
Davis,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes, thank you. We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Davis,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes.
You know, the votes get faster as we get along.
I know, right? All right. Let's call Perry Facilities Authority meeting to order. At 7:25. Roll call, please.
Davis.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
White.
Here.
Coffee.
Here.
Brown.
Yes.
Williams.
Here.
Vaughn.
Here.
Goldar.
Here.
Wortham.
Here. Thank you. So I declare quorum. So item number 1, consent agenda.
Motion to approve. Excuse me, motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Coffee.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. Thank you. Item number 2, consider approval of sales tax agreement with the city of Perry, Oklahoma. What we voted on earlier.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Coffee.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. Thank you. Do you have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
There you go.
Davis.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Coffee.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. Thank you.